It's working. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. So, what is it today?
Today it's Tuesday.
Okay. And what's this coming Sunday?
Father's Day.
Father's Day. And Joe has a birthday this week too.
Joe has a birthday.
Okay, so you got big plans. For Father's Day, what do you normally do? Is there any kind of normal word this year? Father's Day recognition at Round Hill at your church?
They used to have, and Mother's Day as well, they used to have like all the mothers or the fathers stand and they were applauded. And many years ago they used to have like the youngest mother or the youngest father, the oldest, so forth. But we've kind of gotten away from that.
Okay.
Sometimes it might just be like, I know one year they had a pin.
Yeah.
Some small gift that they would pass out to all the fathers in the church or something for all the mothers on Mother's Day, but
Okay.
we haven't done that for a couple of years that I can recall.
Right. We have, even though we're not going to be in worship in person for Father's Day, we have a Q&A that's going to go out as part, I think, of the part of the order of worship.
Okay.
And it's interesting. I got it from the Discipleship Ministries website, and you're actually supposed to look at the questions in advance, so it's okay for kids to look at it. And some of us, my father's deceased. It says you can consider someone other than your father if maybe your father's deceased or not in your life. So it's something you can do. You can go over it in advance. It's got some simple questions like, what's your father's favorite? Ask, I think, what's their favorite musical group? The questions get harder as you go along. There's fewer than 10. And it's like, what is your father thinking right now? Which is a really good question. So it's like, wow. So be ready for that. Be ready for that. Keep an eye out for that. That's what we're going to do for Father's Day. And
That'd be funny if your kids were younger. More if your kids are younger than if they're older.
You can send it to Emily and Carrie if you want to. And you can do, what do you do with your father?
Yeah.
Do you know his favorite color?
I would guess blue.
I know, that's what I'm thinking for my dad too. But, okay. So, all right. Now, tell me about, and this isn't unprepared, church growth at Round Hill.
Well, when we first started going there, it was very small. And when I was pregnant with Carrie, I remember looking around thinking, my goodness, where are the other parents my age? There was one other woman who was pregnant at the same time. And then I guess things eventually took off and growth happened. And I kind of like a small church. And I feel like if I were looking for a new church today, I would until to be too big.
Okay.
But having been there as it's grown, I'm more comfortable, I guess.
Okay. The reason I asked was that I shared on Facebook this morning the reading from the Upper Room, because it's about church growth, and I believe it's a mathematician who wrote it. He said, because he says the number 1 seems so weak on its own, but because even when you multiply 1 by 1, you still get 1. But he said, you can think of 1 in terms of being powerful in terms of addition. And he was thinking about church growth in terms of addition, not multiplication, but addition. Are we adding people to the life of Jesus Christ? Not necessarily multiplying exponentially, although that would be nice, but still addition one at a time. I thought that was a really cool way to think of it. So I shared that on Facebook. And I also wanted to share this other devotion. This is something that's called the Upper Room Daily Disciplines. And I used this yesterday when John Smith and I met for the prayer meeting by conference call at 10:30. This is based, now for Father's Day, okay, this will be a long video. Father's Day, if you were putting together the lectionary for Father's Day, can you think of an Old Testament passage you would use?
I don't know.
Okay, because you know what the lectionary is for Father's Day for the Old Testament? I mean, this is as bad as
I have no idea.
This is as bad as that hymn where you didn't use on Mother's Day because it didn't mention mothers. The Old Testament reading...
It's not Proverbs 31.
31. But it's Genesis 21, 8 through 21, which is the story of when Hagar and Ishmael are cast out by Abraham. Is that not a good story for Father's Day? Is that not a good story for Father's Day? But it's interesting because, okay, the devotion that I read yesterday, and this is interesting, this was written by Melissa Tidwell, who is an author, get this, John liked this too, is an author on metaphor, music, maps, and zombies. I know, that's just, but also pastor of Westminster Presbyterian Church in Xenia, Ohio. writing about this passage from Genesis, and I wanted to share this, she says, this story raises the question, how do we fix the messes we make? And isn't that a good question? How do we fix the messes we make? She says, is repentance only a feeling of being sorry for a mistake, or should it involve action, reparations, and amends? I'm tempted not to read this because we might hear this Sunday. She talks about the daily practice of examine, which is spelled E-X-A-M-E-N, and it says, helps us ask questions about where we go wrong and how we can move ahead in knowledge of God's mercy. A simple examine reviews each day and asks, where did I see God at work today, and where did I turn from the way of grace today? The point is not punishment for our flawed humanity, but accountability for those places that need prayer, an apology, a shift in perspective, or renewed commitment. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that's a good way to examine the day, ask where did I see God at work today, and where did I turn from the way of grace today? So pretty cool stuff. I liked this yesterday. And we'll do the prayer meeting, 10:30 conference call, next 2 Mondays, so please join us for that. And I'm going to close with the prayer that she wrote for yesterday. It says, examine our hearts, God of mercy. Assure us of your promise of presence and compassion, which we can use to amend our ways and amend broken hearts. Good stuff?
Yeah.
I have a whole list of things we need to talk about tomorrow. We may not do a video Thursday because I have a clergy session online. So I don't know.
It'll take you 3 hours?
You never know. We'll see. But we'll be back tomorrow. But yeah, keep this in mind. This is good stuff.
Did you want to remind people about Wednesday Bible study?
We'll do that tomorrow. We have to say something for tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, Bible conversation tomorrow night at 6:15. More on that tomorrow. Thanks.
Not 6:15.
You're right. Okay.
6.
More tomorrow. Just the cliffhanger ending there. Why is it at 6? Okay, we'll find out tomorrow. Lori.
Y'all have a good day.
Okay, we'll finish this as soon as Lori.